Today, we're joined by Ryan Atkinson with Spacebar Visuals. Actually, I always knew I want to start my own company. 2 years ago, almost now, started Spacebar Visuals, which is the video production agency that I know we're going to talk a lot about today. But when did you get your runway? When did you get your momentum? How's that? So we did about $153,000 last year. We're already at $111,000 this year. We're 5 months in or so. So did you have a strategy in mind? We had $14,000 in revenue in that very first month. And I mean, grown this company pretty rapidly. You've grown this on an outbound approach. Tell us what that looks like. 89% of our customers are B2B. And within that 89%, 87% are within that software category. That is really who we serve best and who we go after. The biggest thing that always separates a wannabe-preneur and an entrepreneur is... All right, welcome back to the Niche Pursuits podcast. My name is Jared Bauman. Today, we're joined by Ryan Atkinson with Spacebar Visuals. Ryan, welcome on board. Yeah, thank you so much, Jared. It's super excited to be here today and share some value to your audience. So thank you for the opportunity. It's good to have you. This is a fun story. You know, I always love when we have a story about something that someone has started and really taken to a great level. It gives people really inspirational, but also super tactical in terms of what they can do. So before we get into the story, though, let's get into who you are, maybe a little background. Tell us about who you are, maybe even leading up to and before Spacebar Visuals. Yeah, so I'm Ryan Atkinson. I was born and raised in small town Iowa, about a town of 7,000. My graduating class was 53 people, so very small town. Went to the University of Iowa, did marketing and management there. After graduation, I was like, man, I've been in Iowa my whole life. I'm kind of ready to leave. So moved out to Boston, where I was where I worked at HubSpot in a sales role. So was out in Boston with HubSpot for about a year, and I was like, man, Boston isn't totally for me. So moved down to Austin, Texas, about 2.5 years ago, and I absolutely love it here. Did that sales role at HubSpot, pivoted to a marketing role, and that was manufactured. I always knew I want to start my own company. So I wanted that sales background and that marketing background. And then about 2 years ago, almost now, started Spacebar Visuals, which is the video production agency that I know we're going to talk a lot about today. But that's at an incredibly high level of who I am, where I've been. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. How did you go from HubSpot, right? I think a lot of us who are in the marketing space, I've been around way too long. I won't date myself, but I'll just say that I was at HubSpot's, I believe, second ever inbound conference. Cool. So I've known HubSpot forever, but they're this big brand, right? They almost created some of the acronyms we use this day and all that. How did you go from such a big brand, being part of such a big company, all the way down to getting interested in starting your own project, starting Spacebar Visuals? Where did this idea come from when you're so involved on a high level in kind of a big, kind of more corporate scene? That's a phenomenal question. So I was raised by two small business owners. My stepdad, he owns a flooring company, and my mom owns her own hair salon. So I always was just around entrepreneurs, and I knew I want to start my own company. My 3 W's, I didn't know at the time, but I live by these 3 W's, are to work when you want, where you want, and with who you want. And I always knew that was going to be the case. I always just had that entrepreneurial itch with myself. Quick story here. So I was working an internship my senior year with a Chicago company. It was an AI company before AI was AI, what it is right now. And I remember at the end of my senior year, they kind of just let me go. The company wasn't doing that well. And they're we wanted someone that was more entrepreneurial, and that kind of lit a fire under me. So I put a goal when I was 21 years old to start my own company by the time I'm 25. Did it when I was 24, but that was just kind of a little fun story right there. Hey, Jared here. So if your website earns revenue through ads, you're probably leaving money on the table. Advertisers now bid highest on ad spaces powered by first-party data. So emails and phone numbers that you probably already collect. EasyID by Ezoic makes tapping into this revenue effortless. Ezoic securely manages your audience data, instantly connecting it to premium advertisers, increasing your earnings, and protecting you from dropping ad rates. So don't miss out on the revenue that you deserve. Visit ezoic.com/EasyID and secure your ad revenue future today. Again, that's ezoic.com/EasyID. All right, now back to the podcast. So take us through the idea for the company you have, and take us through where you had it and some of the initial steps you took to get it going.
Yeah. So, fun story here. It was like November 2022, I believe. So yeah, 2.5 years, whatever. I was just mindlessly scrolling on Twitter. I was at my healthcare company doing marketing. It was fun. Didn't love it, but whatever. Paid the bills. Mindlessly scrolling through Twitter, and I come across a tweet, and it was like, I just sold my last company for 7 figures. I'm trying to start another company. Like, message me if you're interested. And the tweet was from Brandon. And I was like, I'll just kind of like shoot my shot here. So shot my shot through email. And we ended up hitting it off. So that's how I met my co-founder, was just a kind of serendipity of Twitter. How we came across the idea, both of us were in the B2B space. Both of us wanted to be within like the media, kind of like media space as well. And we wanted to sell to marketers. So our 3 ideas that we had was 1, a ghostwriting agency, 2, a podcast production agency, and then 3, a video marketing agency. Honestly, not really sure how we landed on video marketing, but like it was a really hot topic at the time. Everyone's like, oh, we need video. And we chose video. And yeah, that led us to here 2.5 years later from that time.
I mean, I'm curious where, like, a lot of people listening are, I wonder how many people listening have the same thought that you had, which is, I need to start a business. I'm made to start a business. I want to start a business.
Yeah.
I want to take control over where, what, how I'm doing my work, all the things you said, but they're stuck on ideas. And it's funny because I've interviewed people over the last couple of months where this has come up. So it's interesting, this theme. But how did you come up with those 3 ideas, and how did you vet? You said it kind of happenstance. Like, was there any vetting process? Where did you go for ideas?
Yeah, I mean, there was really no vetting process. We wanted to be in that B2B space. We wanted to sell to marketers, and we wanted to be in like media type-esque. So my advice to like listeners here is like, look at like your past experiences. Some of you will have more experiences than others, but like, what are common traits of what you served in the past? Maybe you know e-commerce really well. Well, you already have a good eye for e-commerce, so maybe do something in e-commerce. And it's 100% okay if you don't. If you're maybe like SEO, like I know like 201 does a ton of SEO work. Like maybe you could do something with SEO and spin up an agency there. So we really just looked at our past experiences and our strengths and like what we knew. And that's really how we got those first initial ideas, those buckets. And it was honestly just like kind of choosing one. I have no formula on how we actually chose video, like I said, but my advice to listeners is like, what have you done in the past? What do you know? And how can you make your experience from the past like better and actually build a company from that?
Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it also speaks to like, take action. At some point you can overthink an idea. And what we'll see here today is you've got a company and, you know, to your point, didn't do a lot of vetting. I mean, to be fair, like you said, you had experience and you knew video was something that businesses wanted to pay for and needed help with. So I don't want to undersell it, but to some degree, like a lot of people have been sitting on the sidelines for a long time, waiting for the perfect idea. And I think this story also helps underscore how that might not be the best thing to do.
Yeah. And I want to like talk to listeners about that as well. Like, trust me, I was also like an idea factory. I was like, I could walk down the street, I could walk down the grocery aisle and be like, oh, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. I could make a whole notebook, like a 6 pages of notes just from business ideas. But the biggest thing that always separates like a wannabe-preneur and an entrepreneur is the entrepreneur took action. So we can all have the idea, but you really never know if it's going to work until you start putting yourself out there, getting customers, all of that. So yeah, my biggest advice always for entrepreneurship is take action. I 100% understand it's so hard when you have so many different ideas. You need to choose one and go with it.
All right, well, let's talk about going for it. So you chose a video space. Let's talk about the first bit of time. I won't even put time frames on it, but like the initial getting it off the ground. I'm sure there were challenges. I'm sure you had maybe a first win or a first story about when you knew the company was at least onto something. Tell us about those first few months. I guess I will put a time frame on it.
Yeah. So November 2022 we meet. December 2022 we start like really getting the idea, and I'd say January 2023 we really launched this thing. So when I say launch, I mean we start warming up domains, we start like getting the LLC formed, etc. February, we start sending out the sequences, February 2023, that is. And then May 2023, so about 2 months from official launch, we land our first customer. And honestly, this was like dumb luck. That first month, within 2 weeks, we signed 2 clients for $7,000 each. So we had $14,000 in revenue in that like very first month. And you're kind of thinking like, and you'll never forget that feeling. I'm sure you know that feeling as well.
Oh, yeah.
You'll never forget that feeling. It's a phenomenal feeling. You're like, okay, we have something here. I honestly think it was like a little bit of beginner's luck because March 2023, we land 2 clients. April, we don't land any. May, I don't think we land any. And then June, we land like one client. So it really just speaks to like, we had a really big peak at first where we had the validation, but like those next 2 months were hard. Like we didn't land any clients. We have no idea what we're doing. Like we're just kind of like throwing stuff at a wall and making sure it sticks. But yeah, it's like really those very early days of Spacebar Visuals and what we did in that first month.
How'd you get those first clients? You mentioned the word sequence, and I know from our agenda that we're going to be talking a lot about some of the stuff you've gone on to build, which people are going to be very intrigued by. I know I can't wait to hear more about this. But I mean, early days, like what were you doing in the early days to attract clients? How'd you get those first few?
Yeah. So what I know best is outbound. That's what I was doing at HubSpot. So it like really hits on that theme that I just said of like, what have you done in the past? Like kind of double down on that. So what I know at HubSpot was sequences. And so we were sending out sales sequences through instantly.ai, very popular tool out there. We bought, 10 emails, like 3 different domains, whatever that comes out to be. And we were just sending emails. I have a little bit of copy skills just from HubSpot. Now you can throw it into ChatGPT and do it pretty quick. But those first few clients, really was just all through like cold emails and a little bit of beginner luck. Like I said, both of them were $7,000 deals. I can't remember exactly how many videos that was at first. I honestly want to say it was like 10 videos for 7,000, which is a steal. Like that is such a good deal. And so I think we're definitely undervaluing ourselves at the first part of it. But that's how we landed those first 2 clients.
So fast forward a bit. What ends up being kind of the services that the businesses are most attracted to, whether that's, many more months down the road or maybe after the first year, like what ends up being what you guys land on in terms of a service offering that's the most popular for people?
Yeah. So from the start, it's always been video marketing. It's always been like explainer videos, product demos, customer testimonials, event videos. That's always been like the real niche that we played in. And that has not changed. We've tried like adding some stuff. At one point, we were going to do like newsletter advertising. Didn't really take off, just for another form of like revenue. But it's really at our core has always been about explainer videos, product demos, customer testimonials, and event videos.
Who ends up being the target market for this?
Yeah. So that's a great question. So our target market, like who we personally reach out to are B2B software companies. Kind of going back, HubSpot, that's all I knew. That's all who I sold to. So we were just doubling down on that. And I know marketers are pretty friendly people, like pretty open people. You're not talking to a chief information officer, but really like nailing down our ICP here. So it's B2B software. Job titles are like VP of marketing, director of digital marketing, head of content, those types of titles. Employee size is anywhere from like 11 to 250 people or so. So that's who we're really targeting for our offers.
So pretty specific, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be specific when you're starting off. I mean, you can start broad, but you'll really niche down into like who you can serve best. In software, it's an intangible product and they need something tangible to show it off.
I asked you how you started the company. You said it was not super strategic in terms of what you selected to do. I'll ask you a similar question here. Like, did you have a strategy in mind? Was there a specific reason why you chose this type of client to pursue? I mean, you could have gone after so many different types of businesses that could have gotten, that you could make a case would have value in getting video services.
Great question. Really, like not really. Like I said, like all I worked at HubSpot was B2B software. That's like what I sold to. That's just what I knew best. So it was just sticking into that core offer. I know like the messaging kind of doesn't stay the same, but like I was just comfortable with it instead of going to like home services, for example, which I don't have any experience in. Totally different target audience if you're selling to like 50-year-old home service buyers instead of like a 35, 40-year-old digital marketer. Like totally different persona. So I knew that persona best. That's who we went after.
I mean, you can hear it in the way you talk, and I'm kind of underscoring a couple of things, but like, I don't know if it's your HubSpot training. I don't know if it's the fact that you just get it, or if you and your business partner worked on this really quite a bit. But again, like for a 1 to 2 year old business to have their customer avatar so nailed down, that's really, I'd say rare, pretty unique. And then to hear you talk it through, like, it's not just, we're going after, business owners in the SaaS space or something. Like, you've really got a vision of who they are. And I do hear a lot of that missing in entrepreneurs when they're starting out, and the successful ones find it eventually, but the quicker you can find it, the quicker you can actually start to, find some success in a niche rather than trying to be all things to all people.
Yeah. And I know we're going to talk about it some more, but like our outbound strategy all starts about getting like those people into a list. Like you need like at the very foundation of any outbound that we do, like we need a good list. So we need to have that target persona like built out. We just did like a study, not a study, but like we just did an audit of all of our past customers. I think like 89% of our customers are B2B, and within that 89%, like 87% are within that like software category. That's obviously a very wide category, but like it really speaks to like that is really who we serve best and who we go after. That's been consistent for like, for 2 years. That's really just always been our core audience.
So when did you hit, when did you get your headwind going? Like when did you hit that point where you could tell this was going to be something that was going to go somewhere? Sometimes it's a nice, steady, just growth curve. Sometimes you hit those big spikes and then plateau a bit. We're now talking about 2 years plus into the business. Mm-hmm. So when did you hit, when did you get your runway? When did you get your momentum? How's that?
Yeah, I mean, you're always, as an entrepreneur, trying to get that like momentum behind you. I would say like 2024. So we did about 150,000, 153. I want to be, if I can be very precise there, about $153,000 in that first like full year. Honestly, like looking back on the end of 2024, it was so hard. Like it was unbelievably hard. We had like full-time employee. We still have full-time employees, but like hitting payroll at the end of Q4 when you're selling to B2B marketers is so hard. It is unbelievably hard. Like I'm just reflecting on it. October, November, December, those 3 months straight, kind of getting like TMI here, but like I had ulcers like all in my mouth. I'm legit so stressed out. Like you're in this cycle of like, oh my gosh, like I don't know if this is like really going to work. Like you really just go through that as an entrepreneur. And like there was 100 times where I was like, oh man, should I like quit? Like, I don't know if this is actually going to work. Hit 2025 this past 4 months, we have been absolutely like crushing it on outbound. Like we did about $153,000 last year. We're already at $111,000 this year. We're 5 months in or so. So wow. we should hit a pretty close to 100% growth year over year. Hopefully I'm hoping to get to about 150,000 by the end of Q2 and just do that again. Obviously things will change, but honestly, to answer your question, I'd probably say at the beginning of this year is probably when I felt like, oh, this thing actually has momentum and like sales behind the win.
Yeah. Q4 with B2C as well. Q4 is just its own beast in of
so
itself.
Hard.
No matter really who you're serving, I know I could think of a couple industries where it isn't, but it's a different animal, that's for sure. Let's get into it because that really is the meat and potatoes of today, and what I teased at the outset that I'm so excited to hear about. Like you've grown this on an outbound approach, and there's a lot of ways to grow a business, but I would say that you've grown your business quickly. You've hit the ground running. We're 2 years in, and it's been, to your point, with this outbound strategy. So maybe from a high level, tell us what that looks like, and then again, everybody on this podcast loves details. So we'll spend as much time as you're willing to give us to just get into the nitty gritty of it.
Yeah, I'll give you the high level, and then whatever points you want to like talk on more, we can do that. So really at the high level, as I said, that first piece is that foundations level of build out that list, build out who your ICP is. We use Apollo.io to get that very segmented list. From Apollo, we'll then pull 100 contacts. Let's say it's much more, but for simplicity's sake, 100 contacts. We'll then throw them into HubSpot. And then that list, we will send sequences to. That same list, we will also send LinkedIn messages to. In that same list, we will also send marketing emails through HubSpot too. So we're touching them in a whole lot of different ways here. That's at like the really high level, I guess, of like how we're hitting them in so many different ways. We haven't spent any money on paid ads this year. But yeah, of course, then we talk about like sequences, offers, and everything there. But I'll stop there. That's at a very, very high level of what we're doing.
And at a high level, the goal is to drive them to a landing page. And from what I can tell on your website, schedule a call.
Yep. So the marketing emails to schedule a call, sequences, schedule a call, LinkedIn messages, schedule a call. That's a tidbit that I have for anyone that's doing outbound. There is a theory that it's like, oh, you need to build that thought leadership first. You need to like show your social proof. I think that's kind of BS. I think if you're going to do outbound, you need to ask for a schedule every single time you talk to somebody. Like it's the most blunt, front forward way, but you're really trying to hit them on like, oh, I do need to talk to somebody. Getting a little bit more technical in here. So on all your sorry, I'm talking really fast now. It excites me. On all your outbound messages where you ask to schedule a call, put your booking link in there. A lot of times people are like, oh, well, they'll just reply. That can get lost in translation. People forget to reply. You want to hit them when they're hot. Oh, I am interested in this video. Let me schedule a meeting now. So those are two like very technical, like nitty gritty details to like really upscale your outbound.
So let's get into it. Let's break it down. What's the tech stack for something like this? You mentioned Apollo. I wrote down from previously, you mentioned instantly.ai. We've got HubSpot. How many emails and domains and like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so the tech stack, I'll talk about that. Tech stack, so we use Apollo to get our list. We use instantly.ai to warm up our domains. We don't send anything through Instantly. We send all of our sequences through HubSpot. We send all of our marketing emails through HubSpot. And then for LinkedIn outreach, we use a tool called prosp.ai. I think it's about $51 a month, $60 a month, something like that. So in all, you're looking at about $400 to $500 in like outbound operations costs. We have some good deals, but typically $400 to $500 or so. Domains, we're sending from like 8 to 10 domains, different like email addresses. We have like book Spacebar Visuals, the Spacebar Visuals, the Spacebar Visuals, get Spacebar Visuals. You never want to send your emails through like your own like domain, like spacebarvisuals.com. So that's probably going to run you another $100 to $200. So in all, whatever that is, $500 to $700 or so. That's what our tech stack looks like. And yeah, I'm happy to talk about like the messaging and everything that we do in there. Some more, whatever next steps.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be asking you about that for sure, because it seems like that's the bulk of really what is getting people in the door. Just to circle the wagons on, just to be clear, I'm going to try to find it and I'll link to it in the show notes. We have done a cold outbound email interview previously with someone too. So we'll kind of include a link to that so people can kind of hear that perspective. They talked about some of these same things, like, many domains, warming the domains up. Any tips for people before they send off that first email in a sequence that you've learned along the way? You've already shared a bunch, but any others for people that are thinking about getting started on the domain side of things?
On the domain side of things, really the two are warm up your domains, spend 14 to 21 days just having those warmed up through Instantly. Instantly is like $37. That's a no-brainer. One of the biggest challenges right now in outbound is like deliverability. So you got to make sure that. So one, warm up those domains, and to like have multiple domains. So that's really what I would, domain wise, like have multiple domains, don't send through your main domain. That's the advice I'd give, those two tips right there.
So it's all hooked up through HubSpot. And you've mentioned two types of emails. You said sequences and emails, and then you've also said LinkedIn. So those are your three approaches. What are the difference in those first two?
Great question. So the phenomenal question. So HubSpot has something called marketing contacts, where they charge by billing usage. So I'm just looking off my screen here. So basically we have 3,000 marketing contacts, and to talk about this and further, this has been like our number one driver for meetings. So take notes, listeners. So we have marketing emails that we send out. Basically, this is just like a one-off email with like an offer. It has like a graphic on top. So like think of like your traditional like marketing emails of like Southwest sending you something where it's like $89 low fare. They have like a plane flying overhead, etc.
Want to get away.
Yeah, I want to get away. Exactly. So that's what we do for our marketing email. So we'll send this list of 3,000 contacts, these marketing emails every day. That's really it. And then there's no follow-up to it. It's just like a one-shot message, but we're also sending that same person sequences that have like automated follow-up messages with basically the same offer. So those are like the two-prong approach, and I think you need to have both anyways. Our marketing emails, meetings delivered wise and attribution reporting wise has been our biggest drivers so far this year.
That was gonna be one of my questions. So I'm glad you shared that. I mean, how does your LinkedIn outreach work? Is that done? You mentioned prosp.ai. So is that completely outside of HubSpot? How are you with Apollo? Like, are you sending the same group of leads into HubSpot and prosp? Talk through that.
Yep. So let's just say we have that that list of 100 contacts. We'll plug that into HubSpot, send them those sequences, send them those marketing emails. Then prosp.ai will upload that same list into Prosp, and we'll hit them with like similar messaging. Some people are just way more responsive on LinkedIn than email. That's just kind of how it is. I do think I am wary of this. People are probably listening like all LinkedIn is spam. I 100% agree with you. It really all is spam, but it's just another touch point for you, and some people will respond. So those are like the three main channels of how we're driving growth.
This might sound like a dumb question, but I'm sure some people are thinking about it. If you've got the the HubSpot, you called it the marketing, I think contacts. I didn't write it down. But if that's a really good performer, you've got these sequences running. The LinkedIn side of things, I mean, is it driving very much? Is it something where you get certain types of people that you've noticed that respond on LinkedIn side of things? Why do the LinkedIn side of things? I'm really trying to think of someone who's thinking about doing this for their business. And they're like, should I bother with that third add-on, the LinkedIn add-on? Should I just stick inside of more of an email outbound model?
Yeah, honestly, like I don't think you need the LinkedIn outreach. I'm just going to bluntly say, like, I don't think you need it, but I do think for $60 a month, it just is like another touch point for you to have in an automated way. Like you really just need to build this once and you can send the same list people or the same list, like the sequences. Do you need it? No. Is it more of a nice to have? I would say so. We do see we get replies and we're in the talks right now for a $12,000 deal where the person will not respond through email. He will absolutely not. He's based in Spain. So maybe it's something with Europeans. But that's a $12,000 deal that we might close just because of a $60 a month, like LinkedIn sequence. So, do you need it? No. Is it a nice to have? Yes. Would I recommend you have it? Yes. But that's all, of course, depends on who you're going after and whatnot.
Well, let's talk about the copy, the content that this outbound strategy has in it. I mean, I've got to imagine that's a driving force in terms of success and, improving your metrics over time.
Yeah. So what's one really nice thing about Spacebar Visuals is we have a pretty high ticket size. All of our packages are between $7,000 to $12,000 a month. So with that, our customer acquisition costs, just with all of that, I can pull it up here if you want to do. Like January, our customer acquisition cost was $172. February, it was $70 for our customer acquisition cost. March is $119.74, and then April it was $507.88. You might be thinking, why is it $500? Well, here's why. In the past month or so, I was scrolling on LinkedIn. I came across an ad that was like, get a free Aura ring if you book a call, and I'm like, that's genius. Like, are you kidding me? So we started doing a lot of our sequences and all of our marketing emails based off of that same offer. So we were able to whip that together, and that drove how much? About $33,000 in revenue last month for us with this free Aura ring offer. So we include that in all of our messages. So my advice here for people is if you do have a high ticket value, over $6,000, over $3,000 even, throw an offer in there. People really aren't today just going to take emails because they're interested in hearing more about your services. Throw in some sort of offer in there to say like, hey, if you speak with us, we'll do this. We'll include this on top of it. That's like my number one tip is like, you have to have some sort of value add to actually have that conversation. People are so busy nowadays. You need to add a value add there.
It reminds me of the old iPad offer, from 10 years ago, right? I don't know if that's kind of akin to that. So the devil's advocate in me says, okay, are you just getting people who want Aura rings? But it's working, obviously. So I'm not trying to poke holes in it, but I'm trying to maybe talk through what you've learned in terms of how it used to be. What was it like before you did this offer? What was your offer like? And then what type of people are you finding and why is it working against kind of the misconceptions that I have?
Yeah. Great question. So I will say our quantity went up quite a bit. I think we had 25, 26 meetings last month from this offer. But with that said, our win rate went down. I'm looking off to my computer because I'm trying to get you actual numbers here of everything, campaign attribution reporting. All right, pulling this up. So, oh gosh, it's not pulling up. I can't find the right one. But anyway, so our average win rate, I would say from January to March before we started doing this offer was around 33%, something around that range. When we started introducing this offer, it actually dropped down to 18%. It's just way more quantity. It makes sense. With that said, what I think is really interesting is our average deal size went up $400 though. People are opting to do the higher packages with this offer. So yes, our quantity went way down. Our quantity went way up, but our win rates went way down. One thing which is something that we do, so it's a free Aura ring. I do want to asterisk what we're saying here. It's a free Aura ring with any paid package. So some people will get on that call and they're like, oh, I just want an Aura ring. I actually have no need for video. But some people that are actually in the need, kind of on the fence, it's a great hurdle for them to get over to actually buy the package. So it's at a high level of it.
That's a good point of clarity. That's how you don't get that's how you don't get the tire kickers. You get people that are like, well, all right, that's what I need to kind of get myself over the hurdle. Had you tried any other offers before that? Or was this stumbling upon this Aura Ring offer? Like, that was the first time you guys have done like an incentive-based type of approach.
So this was our first time we've done like an incentive-based type of approach. I will say, so we are trying out new offers, and we actually haven't had a lot of success with new offers. We've tried in the past few weeks, we've tried doing a free like Airbnb credit where it's like, oh, like we'll call with us, we'll give you like $200 in Airbnb credit. Didn't really work. I'm running an Apple Watch right now, and that's really not working either. So I think people just like love the Aura rings, but I don't know. So yeah, no, maybe we just got dumb luck with the Aura ring. But yeah, we have tried other offers, but we haven't really found any success yet.
You grew the business well before you started this Aura ring. What did it look like before that? And I'm kind of thinking a little bit to the person right now who's saying my offer isn't high ticket enough for me to be able to justify it. Or maybe I can do that down the road, but right now I don't have those kinds of margins. So what did the kind of sequence look like prior to the Aura ring? And then maybe I'll ask you more about what it looks like now.
Yeah. So I think this would be my advice to anybody. And this is what we also like do here. You need to like audit like your company. Like, what's something that I'm offering right now where I can just spin it up in another way? So let's just say, I'm just trying to think. I don't know. Just think of something that you can like frame in a different way that could be a value add for people. I'll give an example for Spacebar Visuals. Right now, captions on videos, we typically charge for that. Doesn't really cost us anything, but we do charge for it. We're now framing that in a different way where it's free. We take it off. It never costs us anything to begin with, but because we're framing it in a different way, it's a value add for somebody. So to get people in talking about like that offer, think of like audit your company. Like, what's something that I have? What's something that I just kind of add on? How can I just frame that and be like, get a free $500 when you spend $1,000 for Google Ads, something like that. So that's what we were doing before, is just like framing things in different ways where it was like a perception of like a value add. That's when you throw in like that urgency, that scarcity of being like, for the next month, spend $500 on Google Ads with us, get $500 free, something like that. So just frame it in a different way. That's my like approach to that.
Yeah, cool. Details on the, like, are you emailing every day? Are they being touched every day? How are the reach outs constructed? You know, maybe some of those details.
Yeah. So let's just stick with let's stick with props to start. So props, they're being ran every day. That's not as like outbound, because I don't get my LinkedIn like banned. So it is a little bit of a lower touch point, less frequency. Marketing emails. So like I said, everyone, like this is like our best attribution reporting so far in 2025. What we do, so we have like 3,000 marketing contacts. We split that off into 14 different lists. So each list has about 200 people or so, a little more. And we only hit one list a day. So this person in theory is only really getting 2 offers or so a month. Again, that really drives up that urgency, that scarcity, kind of like, oh, I've never seen this offer before. So we'll send out the list every day. So like list 14 went out today. Tomorrow we'll do list 1, list 2, list 3 of like the same offer. And then sequences, we're sending about 3,000 to 5,000 emails a month. We definitely have room to grow that, but that is typically what we're around.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's not crazy scale. That's something that sounds manageable. It sounds, have you developed any internal processes or any tools to help you connect all these dots? Or is it a pretty simple setup in terms of how you put those together and then send them out every day?
It's honestly a pretty like simple setup.
Yeah.
I should have these in SOPs, but it's really all in my head. So that is a step that I'm trying to take as an entrepreneur. I'm not perfect by any means as an entrepreneur. So that is a step of like an SOP that I probably could do, but I really do like lead a lot of the sales and marketing at Spacebar Visuals along with other stuff. But I wish I could give better advice on that. I can't. It is a step that I'm wanting to take. So maybe in 5 months, I will have a better answer for that.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Okay, let me ask the elephant in the room. You're on a lot of calls now as a result of having successful sequences. We got a lot of online entrepreneurs listening, i.e., enjoy the online space. How important do you think it is that you get on a call with them rather than try to convert in other ways without a phone call, without that in person? I guess not in person, but face to face a time.
That's a great question. I can't speak specifically to like buying something where like you don't have to speak to somebody, just because at Spacebar Visuals, like that is just part of our process. Like you do need to schedule a demo. A lot of like my perception of, I'm a big like psychology guy. Like I wouldn't want to buy a $6,000 package from someone if I didn't know like who I was actually buying it from. Being able to control your sales process and your sales cycle is like one of the most important things once you actually do get on the call. So what our like sales funnel, I guess, sales cycle looks like, you get on a call with us, call's going good, like vibe feels good, like you kind of answer like timeline's good, budget's good. That next step, we always set up a proposal call. We never say, oh, we'll just send you the proposal, take a look at it. You're going to get ghosted like 9 times out of 10. You need to set the stage and own like that process and be like, all right, well, this was like a great call. Next steps typically are we'll set up a 30-minute call. I'll go over a 6-video plan with you. Then we'll also present the proposal to you. This way you're equipped with all the information you need to know to make an informed decision. I don't want you to make a $12,000 decision based off a 30-minute call. How does next Tuesday work for you? You're not asking, can we do that? You're saying, you're assuming, can next Tuesday work for you? So then from that, we present the plan, do the proposal. And then from there, we send the proposal and get signature. So we could maybe add another step in there of like a follow-up proposal call, but that's really what our sales process looks like. And you need to own that sales process as a business owner.
Yeah.
As a salesperson, I should say.
No, it's great. Those are some really good tips in there for people listening along the way. Have you found that I'm moving a little bit out of the outbound sequence and now into your customer base, because this is a lot of that people can learn, especially in the first few years of starting something. I mean, how have you adapted your offerings, your service offerings to people over the couple of years you've been in business? And have you found that people gravitate towards one specific type of thing? What have you learned in that area?
Yeah, great question. So how we have changed, one is we have higher prices. I think anyone starting their companies, they might undersell themselves, especially if they've never done it before. Trust me, I did the same thing. Like I said, we had a $7,000 package for like 10 videos, which is unbelievably insane. How we have adjusted, though, to answer your question, is like a 1 video package with us now is $7,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like a 3-video package is $9,000, and then a 5-video package is $12,000. So we don't even offer the 10 videos anymore. I think 10 videos is kind of an overkill. 5 videos is you're gonna get a lot from that. So that just talks about like raising your prices to like meet the value. And obviously, as you bring on more people, like you have expenses to pay and whatnot. So that's how we have adjusted. And then typical videos really are like explainer videos and product demos. That has like always stayed true. So like our core offer, like what we can offer, like hit out of the park. Like some people are like, oh, can you do, I don't know, like an in-person video? I'm like, well, we can do that, but that's like really not our sweet spot. But what I'm confident we can do for you is an explainer video or like a product demo. So our offer has really stayed the same. How we price it has 100% changed. I think it always evolves. But yeah, that's how we've kind of come a little ways in 2 years.
I'd be remiss if I didn't at least ask you about kind of what the core of what you're doing. I mean, obviously, I think what most people are interested in is how you've grown this, which is why we're spending the bulk of the time talking about that. But
of course,
how are you guys making it like internally in terms of operations? Like, how are you guys producing these videos? And, don't give away any secrets or anything, but just from a high level, like if I'm a customer, what am I going to end up getting back as a result of hiring you?
Yeah. So we do all animated videos. So all of our explainer videos, product demos, event videos, customer testimonials are like all animated. We have a design team that we've been working with for about 2 years. It's all contract-based work. So these are not full-time employees, as much as I wish I could say they are. We are still, at the end of the day, a 2-year-old company trying to grow here. So all contractors that we've been working with for 2 years. So we've had those long-term relationships with our contractors. A lot of them are based in the Eastern European region. Phenomenal design talent. They do such a good job and at a lower price than U.S. employees, I guess is the word. So yeah, that's like internally like how we're developing and executing on the storyboards and animation.
Well, man, you've grown this company pretty rapidly. You've so many great things. I mean, any lessons along the way, right? This is kind of now moving into like a high level, like starting to kind of wrap this up and look back on your 2 years of growth. You've shared a lot of stuff. So I just want to be clear, like you've already shared so many little lessons you've learned along the way, but from a high level, like what are some of the big wins you guys have had? and or anything you're like, man, if I had known that going in, I never would have done that?
Yeah. Oh man, there's just like so much. Like I think it truly, the stress, like really what comes down to like an entrepreneur's like level of stress is like cash flow and like payroll. Like I said, those October, November, December, like I had ulcers like all in my mouth just from stress. And I'm not talking like, this is probably TMI. I apologize, audience here, but like literally like 3 or 4 canker sores in my mouth, like just from stress alone. If I knew that, oh man, it was just so hard. It's just way harder than you think it's going to be. Like you are really going to be challenged as an entrepreneur, but you just need to stick through it. Like you just need to keep going one foot in front of the other. Like you will make it out of the tunnel. If you would have told me in December that we were going to be at $111,000 by May 6th, like almost what we did last year, I'd been like, that's not true. Like I'm like thinking of like stopping this because this is so hard. So I think honestly, like what I'm like most proud of, like the biggest wins is like just keep going,
hanging on.
It's hard, like not giving up. Like it's so hard, and like that builds those battle scars of like something you can go through again. And like when tough times comes along, you're like, well, I made it through that. I can make it through this. So it's harder than what you're probably going to expect it to be, but that's okay. That's why we love being entrepreneurs.
I had a mentor tell me, a good friend of mine, tell me a long time ago, the only trait an entrepreneur needs is the ability to get up every morning and keep going in the face of everyone and everything telling them that they shouldn't.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. That is like the truest thing in the world. Like it is so hard, but you just keep going. Know what your why is. Mine has been work when you want, with who you want, where you want. And I could not give that up for corporate worlds anymore. I don't think so. Yeah, that is very true.
The growth you've had these last couple months since the end of Q4, is that all attributed down to this offer that you've landed on? What is the reason that you guys have really turned the corner? Because I mean, I think you're underselling yourself. Like we're recording this, I mean, it's the first week of May, folks. So like you're only 4 months into the year. You've had a huge upswing in terms of revenue growth and that sort of thing. Like what is it attributed to?
Yeah, I think like kind of looking back on it as well, we have some phenomenal team members. At the end of last year, I was handling more of the account management side of like client relations and everything. Maybe not my skill suit. Yeah, I guess that's the word.
Skill set.
And then skill set. There we go. I was like, I guess
probably rock a suit if you wanted.
I appreciate that. So I was doing like account management, like basically all of last year, like managing all the clients. We had some other people on sales, and like we got to the end of the year, and it's like maybe it'd be best if I do all the sales. So I switched that person from a sales role to the account management role and moved myself from account management to sales. And I mean, you're the founder of a company. You think everybody cares about your company a lot, and I'm sure they do. You care just like a little bit more. So being able to control like the whole sales process and like really taking ownership of it, I think has been beneficial for us in a ways where I can have full control, full insight into like what's working, what's not working, be able to adjust off of that. So yeah, just putting myself in a position of that really matches my strengths has been great. And then I would be lying if I said maybe it's a little bit of luck in some sense, as a business sometimes is. But yeah, I would say those are kind of the biggest things there.
Okay, good. Sometimes we're not as good at everything like we think we are.
Yeah, I'm happy to turn over account manager. I love our clients. Like we have some phenomenal clients, but again, I wanted to be in a revenue generating seat, and instead of like keeping clients happy, we need more people to come through the door. So switched over there, and yeah, that's been a good adjustment for the team.
Do you get a lot of repeat clients? And I'm kind of asking because I'm wondering about what's next for you guys. I'm wondering about what you're targeting next. I mean, is this something where to grow it, it's just more outbound? Is it continuing to modify and adapt your services so you're more appealing to repeat customers? Like kind of where are you guys going? And I'm curious if your product line lends itself to more repeat or if it's really kind of a one-shot deal and you've got to scale it that way.
Yeah, it's a great question. So the two like best months that we've had repeat customers. It's tough because these projects, a 5-video project is probably going to last a year, honestly. Like truly it is. So we're starting to get that flywheel where every like month we now have like somebody that's like, oh, like they could be up for renewal. I wish we had better monthly recurring revenue. That is a huge gap in our business plan, our business model. 100% agree with you. Every month we start at zero because we don't have that monthly recurring revenue. So to answer your question, like we are starting to get to that point where we're getting repeat customers. But yeah, that's really, we're looking for ways to diversify how we do outbound as well. Cause I don't want to get stuck in the trap of relying on outbound, and one day HubSpot says, okay, this won't happen. HubSpot says, okay, we're shutting down all out sequences. Like you can't like do any more sequences. You're like, well, crap, we're stuck. So yeah, looking for more ways to diversify our outbound channels through paid media.
You got to still know someone at HubSpot. I'm sure you could still send those out.
Yeah. I'm not saying it will, but just for just straight theory right there.
Hey, any final tips for people listening? You've been super honest and upfront. So the question has already been answered by you, both from a business standpoint, but also just from a personal entrepreneurial standpoint. But I mean, any just final thoughts you wanted to share? It was really good to have you on. You've shared so much already.
Yeah. I think honestly, to put the bow on this and to circle back on how we started this conversation, like the biggest difference between a wannabe-preneur and an entrepreneur is the entrepreneur took action. You can read all the books you want. You can listen to all the podcasts you want. You can watch the social network as many times as you want. The biggest difference is taking action. So find those ideas that you're passionate about. Where do your strengths lie, and start running with it. So that would really be the advice that I would end this with.
Ryan, where can people connect with you? We've talked a lot about your business, but both on the business level, and then if people have any questions, or if they want to try to get in touch with you or follow along with what you're doing going forward.
Yeah, well, you guys can all follow or find me on LinkedIn, just Ryan Atkinson, CEO, Spacebar Visuals. If you want to send me an email, ryan@spacebarbvisuals.com. Say you came through this podcast. If you are interested in video marketing services, we can definitely cut you a deal, especially if you come through this podcast. So those are the two best channels to find me.
Ryan, thanks for coming on. It's a really, really fun episode. I learned a ton myself, which I always love, but just thanks for sharing your story. I know outside of the tactics that you talked about, it was really inspiring to hear what you've done in the first couple of years of your business, and just kind of some of the stuff you shared about the ground level. What's tough about being an entrepreneur, and then your encouragement to push through. So thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jared, for the opportunity.
All right, talk soon.
Hey everyone, Spencer here, founder of Niche Pursuits. Are you adding a new internal link pointing to each article you publish? You should be. Ever find it time-consuming and a bit overwhelming? Remembering what content you publish and deciding which anchor text to use can be a real headache. What if there was a better way? Well, that's exactly why I created Link Whisper. Simply click Add Inbound Internal Links, and Link Whisper will scan your site in seconds and suggest the most relevant links with appropriate anchor text for your new article. Now simply check the box next to the internal links you want to add, and Link Whisper will add these links for you. No need to go into each article, edit, and add the link. It's already done. No more manual internal link building or guesswork. Just efficient, accurate linking that saves you time and improves your SEO. Transform your content strategy with Link Whisper. Start linking smarter, not harder. Use the coupon code PODCAST for $15 off. Head over to linkwhisper.com and use coupon code PODCAST to get $15 off.